Good evening, or sorry, good morning, everyone. It's still morning here. And y'all wanted me to take a look at Illinois. And then we've actually got some more maps from Virginia that we're going to look at. Um, and I'm trying to see if there's anything new. Uh, Not really. So y'all wanted me to look at Illinois, and I mean I've seen the map, but before we get into my evaluation of it, likes, comments, subscriptions, they always do help the channel. I greatly appreciate them. Um, Likes and comments help the algorithm like me, so please feed it. And of course, if you subscribe, I'd love to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and it'd be fantastic. So yeah, I can finally zoom in, and that pleases me greatly. It's not as intuitive as I'd like, but yeah, so overall, it's kind of what I expected. That Illinois was going to, the Democrats in the state house were going to try to gerrymander the Republicans out of being in a potentially one, two, three, four, five, sorry, out of potentially being able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seats. 7 of 18. That's still that's still a massive advantage for the Democrats. But under the proposed map, well, the best the Republicans can do is to maybe a third, 6. They could still get 7, maybe 8 or 9, depending on how things go. Which kind of is a bit shocking because this map is definitely heavily gerrymandered, but the Democrats are trying to stretch their partisan advantage out of Chicago. And to show it, look at Illinois 15th, the proposed one. That's heinous. That's ugly. This is honestly not that bad. This is terrifying. This is also horrifyingly gerrymandered. Then I'm going to zoom in on the Chicago area just to show you how bad it is. That's pretty bad. Remember, this is a district that stretches almost all the way to Springfield. This one's I've seen worse, but it stretches from some pretty rural parts of the state all the way into downtown Chicago. This is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. These two are both not great. And then we have to zoom in even more. I love that the geographic placement for where the center of Chicago is puts it in the 4th, which is the earmuffs district, except it doesn't even look ugly. It doesn't even look aesthetically pleasing like the current one does. Like, I can immediately, it looked better in the past. But of course, the 4th is supposed to be a majority Hispanic district. I believe these two are supposed to be both majority black. But yeah, you can see they're trying to both balance the fact that they have to create their majority minority districts, but also somehow get all the white liberals to have their political influence spread out as far into these exurbs as possible. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure how successful this map is going to wind up being. Like, most outside of the Chicagoland area, most of the state is trending pretty heavily towards the Republicans. And I'll show, take a look at that to kind of show you what I mean some other time. But it's one of the reasons why I'm actually going to be heavily watching Illinois, because it kind of reminds me a little bit of, Michigan in a lot of ways, or even Pennsylvania to an extent, because we can consider the Alton, East St. Louis area down here to be analogous to a second metro area, maybe adding Springfield. But really, the Chicago metro area is kind of analogous to either Detroit or Philadelphia, or I guess Minneapolis, St. Paul, except it's got some things that kind of make me think it's a little bit more like, one of the other Rust Belt states in a lot of the ways like that. Obviously, Illinois is losing a district, and the Democrats are going to set it up so that there's no way, apparently in the old map, I may have missed that these were two districts. Technically, in both maps, the Republicans can get even in Illinois, but that would take a landslide margin of victory, so yeah. Now let's go to Virginia, because we've actually got some new maps. We looked at the A4, the B4, and the C1. What we haven't done is look at the C... Is this a C5 map? Sorry, this is the A5 map. And then we have B5, C1A, and C1B. Now, wow, this is definitely a Republican-biased map. Surprisingly, it's very geographically pleasing to me, except for maybe the fourth. The fifth absolutely covers parts of South Side. The fourth kind of covers a little bit of a no man's zone. The third, okay. And the second looks reasonable, honestly. The first, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. The seventh, they actually found a way to make it not look like it's in no man's land by having the sixth. I'm assuming it's because it covers Charlottesville and Lynchburg. And there's actually not an inordinate, a dearth of people here. People do live in these areas. It's just, you can tell where the major metro areas are. Well, not really here, but it's still much, much better than the old map in terms of geography. But in terms of trying to appear independent, it almost locks in a Republican majority in the congressional delegation. So that would be rejected. This one, I don't think that it would be accepted, honestly, simply because you have to get the Republicans to sign on to it. And in a really good year in a decent year for the Democrats, you're going to have 3 Republican seats, because the first includes way too much Nova and a lot of the competitive area, and the second, not sure how Republican leaning it actually is. So I'm not sure about that one. In C1A, pretty much 5 solid Republican seats, 5 solid Democratic seats, and a competitive second, which probably by the end of the decade is going to be leans Democrat, and I could see both of these becoming less competitive. And honestly, I don't think this is a terrible map. I think the third and the fourth could be refinagled a bit. And if we look at the C1B proposal, it keeps the 7th competitive, but it does draw Spanberger out of the district, which I'm okay with. I don't think she's a very good representative, but also I'm biased, so yeah. But it has 2 competitive districts. It basically just redraws the boundaries so that the first is less competitive. The first is more competitive. The 7th is basically even. Keeps the second basically even, and then everything else is pretty safe. So that's that. Like I said, go back to the national overview. Personally, if we go back to Virginia, I think probably either the B4 or C1 are probably the best proposals. But that is my personal opinion. And I understand that people are going to feel differently. So there's that. That's really about it for me. So I want everybody to take it easy. Have a very nice day. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.